Let's chat. That doesn't sound good. So A Quiet Place just came out on Blu-ray. I want to talk about it here, see maybe if you skipped out on it, if you want to watch it for the first time, maybe you want to see it again, click on this video, see if it's for you, see what I thought. So let's just jump right in. You make a sound, you die. Movie worlds suck. I really hope they don't make a sequel. Now, right out the gate, this movie gets started hard. Like, the first 5 minutes are absolutely terrifying. And for the next, 40 minutes, it's all world building, it's all character building. Now, let's talk about the cast. The kid actors are amazing. And I usually hate kid actors. Not as a person, but just their performance. And there is one actor in this movie who plays a kid that's just, it's phenomenal. And the stuff they do with the sound design with her, with a certain thing that afflicts her, it's incredible. There are some moments where the acting felt a tad stiff, and that barely happened for me, but sometimes these characters do speak, and there was one moment when the characters actually spoke that it felt a little off, but other than that, everything felt so good. This is a short movie too, it's only 90 minutes. This movie benefits from being only 90 minutes because it world builds where it needs to, and that's another thing, is the world building. If you want to know what happened before this, you're not gonna. You want to know the other people, you're not gonna. I loved how this movie did its world building because it was enough to where I understood what was happening and I got an idea in my head, but there's enough mystery that I felt fear for these other characters to where I felt like I probably knew just as much as they did. And that's the thing about this movie, is you know probably just as much, if not a little bit more than they do, but you feel what they're going through because that makes a connection. You get to know these characters for 40 minutes through the hardships and the trials, and this family just trying to survive. That's the cool thing about this movie. Most post-apocalyptic movies, regardless of what genre they in, are about surviving, not thriving. And this movie, for the most part, is about thriving. There's some decisions that are made because of that may frustrate you. They frustrated me, but let me say again, not at the movie itself, just at the things that the characters did, but they don't want to just survive in this world, they want to thrive in it. And it's such an interesting thing for an apocalyptic movie to not be about just scraping by, but making the best life you can and making that life better, even if it means putting yourself in more danger for the moment. Let's talk about my favorite part of movies, the cinematography. Holy smokes, it is incredibly shot, because even the parts when there's no talking, they're just dialogue, there's world build up, all that stuff, the camera's almost never still because you get that constant shot, that constant swivel, that constant so you got motion in the shot and you're not bored at what you're watching. Now this movie, the way it's shot, the premise is all about sound. So if the sound design sucked, the movie would have sucked. And honestly, it is one of the best sound designs in a movie I've seen in years. And it should be, because it's all about that. It's all about that creakling and crackling and just the little things that we take for granted every day, that if you make too much of a sound, the Demogorgon from Stranger Things is going to murder you. Now, because the whole premise is about a creature that can hunt by sound, there are some moments where you're going to have to suspend your disbelief just a tad bit. I've read where other people, that really bothered them. It made sense to me on the most part. There was one or two things where I'm like, it should have been able to hear that, or how did it get there that fast? But it really does a good job for the most part with those things. Before I went into this movie, I didn't expect to really like the creature, be terrified from him. I was. He was scary. He was scurry. And he looked pretty good. The way that the animators created him and his head, or their heads I should say, is very similar to the creature designs in the past. Demogorgon from Stranger Things meets the alien from Alien. It feels like that, but it still feels like its own thing because it also looks like a praying mantis. Now this movie was made by Blumhouse. Now if you know what Blumhouse is, go check out the Insidious movies. That's all you need to know about Blumhouse Productions. And this movie's got jump scares for days. However, the jump scares are few, and it doesn't really even have to do with the monsters most of the time. It's false jump scares. And for me, that was kind of a sour point, because it's come on, bro. You ain't got to do that. You're smarter than that. You're smarter than that. A Quiet Place, John Krasinski. I have more faith in you than that. If you like jump scares, you need to go see this movie at least once. If you don't like jump scares, it's going to annoy you like it annoyed me. But unlike It, which we'll talk about that movie later on this channel, unlike It that released last year, it doesn't rely solely on jump scares for most of the movie. There's tense moments, and tension is what this movie's about. Is that I felt like I could not breathe until the end of this movie. And at the end of it, I wanted to die. It is a perfect date movie. You just had the arm at the ready. And you can tell when jump scares are coming. You just let it happen. Boom. Right in there, in that crevice. You date your girlfriend, your man friend, your non-gender specific friend. It's right there. It's a pro tip for you. Another thing about this movie, which is a thing for a lot of thrillers and maybe a one-time watch for you. I've seen it twice. I enjoyed it a lot the second time, but it's just kind of that thing of, saw that coming. Yeah, I already saw that. Like, the tension gets lessened a little bit, but for me, like, I was actually surprised how much I still enjoyed it the second go around with knowing what was going to happen. That's how great this movie sets up its premise and the tension that ensues and just the metaphorical boiler that explodes once the tension reaches a head. It's an incredible movie that follows old school thriller designs while adding to those things and making it something new. And for horror and thriller movies, a lot of us are burned out on how they're so stereotypical, and there are still some stereotypes in this that don't really add to much for the rest of the movie. However, I feel like those moments are far and few between. If you like old school movies and creature flicks, you should give this movie a watch, because it has heart and it has a message about family that you don't see in a lot of movies like this. Now let's talk about the ending. No spoilers here, this is spoiler-free zone. You're going to be conflicted. The ending can mean two things. Either this is where they wanted to leave the world and the story that they're telling, or they're setting up for sequels. I have no idea. I have no idea which one. I enjoyed the ending. It may, cheapen the experience for you. I was super sad after, but other than that, it was good. It's good. If I had to give this movie a score, death ensuing clap to the head, 4.5 out of 5. That is everything that you need to know about A Quiet Place. Let me know what you thought about the video. Did you goof? Did you gasp? Did you cry? Did you gasp? This isn't a one-person chat situation. This is a chat room situation, which means multiple people. So leave a comment. Did you like the review? Did you disagree with something? Let me know. Let's get a conversation going. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can watch more awesome videos like this. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for chatting with me.